Ricky, wherever you go, we all wish you a lot of luck, because you're writing swell stuff these days.
Thanks, I'm getting the breaks, that's all.
Danning, I win my bet.
And I'm still getting them.
Do you mean that?
Why do you think I hurried back here to Lisbon?
Oh, you do something to my chemistry.
Why not? It adds up. No one else will ever mean anything to either of us.
Is that from the heart, Ricky?
You know it is. I'd marry in a split second if I didn't have a wife.
Come on, let's dance.
À quoi tu penses?
Tu crois pas que Roland se méfie? Il me regarde drôlement quelquefois.
Mais non. Tu sais, je suis obligée de baiser de temps en temps avec lui, alors il croit que je l'aime.
Adultery is an ugly business. It involves constant deceit, constant rationalization, constant manipulation, and constant wickedness.
It's 2 hours away. He's got a hot tub, sauna. I can book it. Just give us some space to talk. What is it? What's he done now? Can't tell me, it's all right.
I can't. We can't do this every week.
Why not? Who are we hurting? Look, you need someone, and he's hardly ever there.
That's the job, that's not him.
Yeah, but he barely communicates when he is there, you said it yourself. If you're happy and content or whatever, then why are you here? We both need this. Someone to talk to. A bit of kindness.
We should be talking to the people we married.
Supposed to be picking up a birthday present for Amy tonight. Big surprise. Spent way too much on it because I feel guilty as hell. I don't want to feel like that anymore.
That's why we have to stop.
In Black Work 2015, a wiretap captures the intimate conversations between illicit lovers.
That's why it's such a lifesaver seeing you.
For me too, you know.
Where did you get that?
In the airing cupboard.
I don't know what I'd do with that this time, you know. Together. Switch it off.
I wish we had 10 more minutes.
Hal, I'm serious.
October 3rd, 5:42 p.m.
I'm gonna sit Amy down. I'm not happy. I wanted to know. You should do the same with Ryan.
Joe? What is this?
I want to, I just can't.
Joe?
If you don't love him anymore, then he deserves to know.
Hal, please.
While their relationship remained in the dark, the lovers could convince each other that they weren't doing anything wrong. But the exposure of these conversations to friends and family creates a terrible uproar.
You know what that station's like if word got out?
You know, we haven't done anything wrong.
It doesn't sound like that on the CDs. Look, until I find out who's listening to us, we can't say anything to anyone. We've got to keep them to ourselves.
Oh, Jesus!
Hal! How could you do this to us? Hal, don't hurt him. Listen, we didn't do anything. He just brought me home, darling. How could you do it?
Hal, put it down. Come on.
I don't want anything to do with you anymore.
Let's go in. Yeah?
It makes the situation more tragic that the husband, a police officer, is murdered in the line of duty. His wife learns that during a 3-year undercover operation, he lived with another woman and had a baby with her.
Did you know Neil Cargill?
Well, we lived together for 3 years, so my answer to that probably should be yeah, shouldn't it? Only turns out I didn't know him at all. You okay?
You two... You were together for 3 years.
You can call it together. They were only here half a week. Did you know him?
Yeah, I knew him. Hello?
Joe, it's Hepburn. Listen to me.
They've found Michael Parry in his cell. He's dead.
Joe, where are you? Can you hear me?
She's Neil's. No, I'm sorry, who are you?
I'm his wife.
The wife herself fooled around with her husband while he was married to another woman. Blackwork is overstuffed with adultery business.
I'm sorry for taking Ryan away from you.
It's been 9 years.
I know, but I think I know how he must have felt now. He was cheating on me.
How long for?
Nearly 3 years. We had a child together. I've only just found out.
Jesus, Joe. I'm so sorry. Just don't make the same mistake I did. I hated you for years. But you didn't take him from me. He left me. So blame Ryan, not the other woman. Whoever she is.
Exposure is a key component of the adultery film.
Oh, dear, I'm so sorry.
Good old Wrightsville. I'll bet you'll love it. Yes, sirree, a girl like Sue ought to do all right. There's no telling what height she could reach if she once puts her mind to it. You know, Board of Education, mayor, governor, senator, maybe president. And, in fact, when she's president, that'll give her husband a chance to travel around. Where'd this come from?
Oh, it must have dropped from my bag.
Well, I guess we better be going.
Dramatic self-sacrifice was part of the old melodrama. In The Melodramatic Registered Nurse, 1934, an ill husband kills himself so that his wife can move on in her life with another man.
Mind if I visit for a while? Say, you got the same nurse I got. She's a swell girl.
Yes, she is.
Now, there's a girl that deserves to be happy, and what kind of a break does she get? She's got a nut for a husband. Did you hear about that?
Yes, I heard.
That's what I call tough. 'Cause she don't love this husband anymore. He was a heel, and she was going to divorce him anyhow, never got around to it. Then he went crazy, and for years she stood by him. Tough, ain't it? Yeah. Now she's in love with somebody else. One of the doctors here, nice fella. Makes it tougher still, don't it?
I didn't know that.
Oh, sure. They're very much in love with each other. You know something? If I was that husband of hers, I think I'd take a jump out the window. You gonna be here long?
No, I don't think so.
Lend your magazine?
Thank you. No, I've got some thinking to do.
Okay. I'll be seeing you.
Today we will examine two adultery films in depth. The first film is Abraham's Valley, a 1993 Portuguese film directed by Manuel de Oliveira. The film's main character, Emma Paiva, Leonor Silveira, was modeled after Gustave Flaubert's Emma Bovary. Mary Donaldson Evans, author of Madame Bovary at the Movies, points out that Emma also marries a doctor, becomes bored, takes on lovers, and then dies. But there are other similarities. Emma, a beautiful teenage girl, is married off by her father to a well-to-do doctor, Carlo Paiva, Luis Miguel Sintra. She is not attracted to Carlo. On their first meeting, she notes that he has nice, neat salesman teeth, but she finds nothing else about him appealing. Her disinterest in the man has much to do with his dull personality and the fact that he is twice her age. Emma, like Bovary, is obsessed with romance novels, which she believes tells her what life should be like. She yearns for a life filled with romance, beauty, and excitement, things she finds to be missing from her marriage and provincial existence. The dissatisfied and dreamy-eyed wife becomes involved with a series of lovers. She shows herself to be vain, shallow, and selfish in the way that she neglects her husband and children in favor of these many extramarital affairs. Emma did not marry out of love and feels no obligation to form an emotional attachment to Carlo. She makes no effort to commit herself to her husband, which is the foremost requirement of marriage. She could likely commit to this man if she wanted. Carlo is a good man, and he's far from repulsive looking, but instead she prefers to seek out romance and passion with other men. None of these relationships mean much. How could they? Her beauty is all that this shallow woman has to offer her lovers. Dennis Schwartz wrote, "None of these affairs makes Emma happy. In time, she becomes estranged from her insensible husband and two daughters. Because she can never find love or purpose in her life, Emma's life is never fulfilling." When Emma needlessly returns to the estate of her absent first lover, searching for what's missing in her life, she dies when accidentally falling through the rotten boards on the pier. The meditation on her life confirms that she led an empty life despite such promise, a life that was only lived through the men who desired her. Of course, Emma is identified as a victim and a heroine in the feminist interpretation of the story. She is a victim because, despite her luxurious lifestyle, she suffers a great existential discontent. What is the source of her discontent? Emma feels deprived by the limited role that society offers her in terms of emotional and personal freedom. She has become overwhelmed by a longing for something more and indulges in affairs as a misguided expression of her stifled individuality. She is, in the end, a tragic hero in a rebellion against patriarchy and religion. I don't buy into that at all. Let me show you the one scene that has lingered in my mind. Emma is standing on the veranda with her two daughters, Lola and Luisona. She considers the physical attractiveness of the girls. The narrator reveals her thoughts. Lola was too tall. She seemed backward. Luisona was prettier and sweeter. The same shallow vanity that she has always applied to herself, she now applies to her daughters. This may be the least sympathetic version of Emma Bovary. Manuel de Oliveira had Silveira play the role expressionless. It could be that, in his mind, the men in the story failed to acknowledge Emma's humanity. They had reduced her to an object of beauty, much like a painting, so she was compelled to be as lifeless as a painting. Paintings had a significant role in the film. Carlo is unnerved by this painting in the same way that Emma often unnerves him. We also see Emma juxtapositioned with photographic portraits. And many times we see her still face framed in mirrors in a way that recalls a portrait.
Traditore e compensi in tal guisa della mia dell'amico tuo primo, dell'amico tuo primo, la fe. Dolcezze perduti a memoria.
Ema drifted through her final hours preoccupied with the beautiful props of a romance novel. The next film, Clean Slate, 1982, is set in a French colonial African village in 1938. Lucien Cordier is the town's sole policeman, but he doesn't bother enforcing the law and clearly has no authority. He is treated with scorn by his wife. He is bullied by pimps. He is mocked by the head of the local timber mill. It has been a solid tradition in adultery films to set the story in a backward colony outpost where the characters have lost track of Western culture, especially Christian morality. Marital fidelity has specifically vanished from their lives. Lucien's wife, Huguette, is cheating with a layabout, Nono, who pretends to be her brother. It is suggested that Nono hasn't been faithful to Huguette during his drunken nighttime escapades in town. Lucien is cheating with Rose, a young bride married to a brutish man who regularly beats her in the street. The film's one virtuous character is a French teacher, Anne Irene Scobline, who is new to the corrupt little town. Lucien falls in love with her, but he believes that he doesn't deserve her. In the opening scene, Huguette is ridiculing Lucien for avoiding confrontation and responsibility. She tells him that he needs to do his job. She insists that the timber mill's latrines are a health hazard and he needs to have them removed. She complains, "You said that those rotten shitholes would be gone in a week. You chickened out. He pissed all over you." She says that she resents having to serve soup to an ass-licker like you. Lucien has been content in his passivity, but he can no longer ignore the corruption around him and his own complicity in it. He suddenly and inexplicably reaches a breaking point and sets out to fight back against his enemies. Shockingly, he resorts to murder to express his long-suppressed rage and feelings of impotence. He starts out by shooting the pimps and dumping their bodies in a river. He acts without regard for consequences or ethics. Traditional morality no longer holds value to him. Not one of his enemies survives by the end of the film. His nihilistic actions come to reflect a slow unraveling of his mental state. He sadly comes to realize that his actions to reclaim power and assert his independence are proof of his own moral decay. The final scene shows Lucien in despair and confusion as he sits alone under a tree. Infidelity is presented in this film as an egregious expression of corruption and moral decay, but the filmmaker has no specific interest in exploring the significance or consequences of infidelity. This is not a cuckold revenge story. The film limits its focus to the moral decay of society and suggests that a man is hopeless to escape it.